How you guys out there? James Humphrey again with Associates Productions Movie Reviews. I got my guest here, the Random Kristian Show host, Kristian Random. How you doing, buddy?
All right, brother. Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you too. He's going to be on our streaming channel.
Yes.
For his podcast. Go ahead and talk about your podcast for a little bit.
Well, it is called The Random Kristian Show. Oh, we already I gave you the stickers already.
You did give me the stickers.
So yeah, I don't have. That's professional, wasn't it? There they are. Yeah,
there they are. Stickers.
The Random Kristian Show. There you go, right there. Thank you. It's a little podcast live stream actually that we do live every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Central, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, it really evolved from me missing doing radio. Mm-hmm. And I was doing voiceover stuff, and I said, well, I've got all the equipment to do all this. And somebody's like, dude, you need to do a podcast. My buddy does it from a phone. Oh, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I think I can figure this out. So it started with me, literally the first one was me talking about grooming yourself. Oh. And having fun with that. And it was like a 20-minute rant on how people groom themselves and spend too much time shaving and whatnot. So then it just kind of evolved from there.
Okay. So pretty big background in radio, right?
Yeah, I was in radio almost 11 years.
11 years in radio. That's amazing.
It was a dream of mine since I was a kid. Okay. I evolved very quickly in it. Mm-hmm. I didn't hit obviously huge success, but I got to where me and my partner of mine had a #1 nighttime show. A lot of fun.
Well, how many episodes are you in on the Random Kristian Show?
We're about to hit 100.
100 episodes.
100 Tuesday. This will probably be coming out after that, but it'll be available on Associate Productions. Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, it's we're hitting 100. We're going into season 4 right after that. Mm-hmm. We've been on the air or interweb for almost 2.5 years. 2.5 years, yeah. And so it's been great fun. Had a couple people come in and out. I actually was just going to do it all by myself, but it evolved back into more of a talk show. Mm-hmm. A lot of people listed as a comedy interview. And I've been referred to as a very Johnny Carson-esque kind of style. We just have a lot of fun. I like to bring people in that are, from all different walks of life. I mean, we go from doctors to actors, comedians to skateboarders. It's all over. I bring interesting people on, and I try to show everybody, hey, we're all the same.
Okay.
And they just get comfortable, they be themselves, and we have a great time. And it's just a lot of fun. It's fun to see how people live their lives and how they relate in the world.
All right, well, I gotta ask the question, just like I ask everybody else the question. What do you watch? Movies. Let's get into it.
Well, I'm obviously a huge comic fan. Always have been. But I mean, I'm also a nerd. I love I'm not as impassioned about Star Wars as some of my cohorts are. Okay. But that's because Matt and Andy, my cohorts on the show, are huge Star Wars freaks.
All right. Maybe one of these days I got to bring them on for a Star Wars episode.
Oh, good Lord.
I'm feeling like a Michael Keaton comedy. You like Multiplicity?
Multiplicity. Yeah. I love just stupid comedy. When I was a kid, my dad turned me on to Mel Brooks as a young child. So yeah, I mean, Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles, The Producers,
Caddyshack.
Caddyshack.
I remember
Caddyshack is pure genius.
I remember watching Caddyshack with my mom when I was a kid, and then watching it again, it's like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have been watching that. but I want to say with the crude humor. Oh yeah. I didn't quite understand what the hell was going on back then. Yeah. Way over my head. But my sisters is diehard Beetlejuice fans.
Yes.
That whole 80s era were
how many seriously great comedic movies came out of that whole era. I mean, you got Beetlejuice, which, out of nowhere, Tim Burton just takes a very dark, Afterlife. and ghosts and specters and things like that, and makes it completely goofy and just, relatable. And it was just such a fun way to make something scary stupid and funny, Not saying, that being in hell is fun or anything like that, but it's not. It's a horrible, horrible place. Repent now. But, Michael Keaton, the way he played that character and got so, they even said, even off set, he was still walking around, hey, baby, but that's a sign of a great actor. He gets so enveloped in it. Like Heath Ledger with the Dark Knight, when he was the Joker. People were freaked out during that whole filming because he was so involved in the Joker character that he just became him for a while and was walking around backstage. It's like, okay.
He most definitely took method acting to a whole new level with that movie in general.
And those are great actors, I haven't seen the new one with Joaquin Phoenix, but I've heard he does a pretty good job as Joker.
It's most definitely a different Joker.
Yeah.
And it plays more into the Joker's origin story than it is him already being Joker. It's more or less him becoming Joker. The things that he went through to, I guess, quote unquote, become insane.
Right. Well, and that's the one thing I loved about the first Batman back in the days with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, because they did allude to some of that, how he actually became. And so you got a quick background, and then it evolved so well. The way Tim Burton pulled those and wove them in and out, so it didn't, like nowadays, like the Marvels, I think they get too hung up, especially the newer Marvel, like Captain Marvel and things like that. They get so involved in it's like, okay, it's interesting, but let's get into it.
Let's get to the actual story.
Which I thought was great about the Iron Mans. Obviously, huge Iron Man fan. But
I'm not paying for that advertisement.
They better be paying us. The reason I love Iron Man is because he is so relatable. He's a human. Okay, so there's nothing super about him except for the fact that that suit and his technology and his brain are what's super. And then he obviously gets stronger. And then as he's growing more into the world, he does basically evolve into a superhero. He's the one that did the Thanos snap and handled it. No other human could do that. They would blow apart. In theory. Okay, yeah, and I'm totally nerding out. Sorry.
No, you're good. But, I'm more of a Captain America fan, but that's cool.
But dude, and Captain America, right? They put the super. He was just a kid,
a little weakling.
Yeah, and weakling. They said, "Okay, you want it."
This gave him a shot, and then he got big and buff.
And because of his heart and his will, he was able to handle it. Any of those other soldiers that they would have self-destructed. Look what happened to the Red Skull. He was a product of the super soldier serum in a bad way because he was evil. So it just personified the evil in him, and that's how he became the way he was,
Here's a good question. Are there any characters that help persuade your, I guess, more or less persona of Christian Random on your show?
Well, we mentioned Beetlejuice. I'm the goofy kind of guy. There's.
Are you more like a real feral improv? You're just kind of going off the moment? Or?
Oh, yeah. You have to. Especially, I learned that a long time ago in radio. You have to roll with the punches constantly because you can get somebody that is just so dry on an interview or something. And you've got, especially in radio and like this, you don't see your audience. So you've got to do something. You don't have a live laugh track going with you or anything like that. So you've got to keep it bubbly and
going.
Interesting. And especially nowadays, everybody's used to swipe.
Yeah.
So you've got literally 5 seconds. You lose somebody in those 5 seconds, it's over. So you've got to have a lot of energy. You've got to keep people, rolling and clicking. And so, you've got to be able to sense your guest. You got to be able to sense your audience. So, there's a lot of improv. There's a lot of just rolling with the punches. We have, there's that Bill Riley clip Bill O'Reilly clip. Sorry, where is he? We're doing it live. We're doing it live. We scream that before every show because we try and pump each other up, to do the show. And not that we aren't excited to do it, but in radio it was an everyday thing. This is now just a once a week thing. But the entire rest of that time, I'm constantly thinking of the show, and I'm trying to improv, and I'm trying to get, I can't. I cannot pre-plan for a show. I have to roll with it the way I get it. So yeah, the Will Ferrell, the Adam Sandlers, and Robin Williams. I do a lot of, and I've been holding back on doing a lot of my voices and stuff. Of course, you do my grumpy old man, which I do that because it drives Matt insane because he can't handle it. He just, you can't see him, but he's just back there. He's like. And telling me to shut up, and he'll type me in a private chat that we have, and stop it, just stop it. So it's great. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, you roll the punches. You have a lot of fun with it. I love Will Ferrell. He's so creative, so talented. I mean, he started out as a cheerleader, and he played football, and it was just something to get extra credit. And so he went to cheerleading and acting, and fell in love with it, and moved on from there and became just pure comedic gold.
I want to say the last Will Ferrell movie I saw was probably Get Hard. And I'm actually not a real big Will Ferrell fan.
Yeah.
But the movie was funny.
Right.
I give him that. The movie, mixing him with Kevin Hart, was a good, I guess, quote-unquote duo.
Right.
Compared to, the other guys with him and Mark Wahlberg. Not that, the other guys were bad. It just wasn't my kind of movie.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And the thing is, on that kind of a movie, I feel like I suffered through it, but there was so many just great one little scenes where you're just like, oh my God, and you're laughing the whole time until the next one comes. So you're just like, whatever. So people forget about the dead parts of the movie.
You watch any TV?
I used to. I
not
don't watch a whole lot anymore.
There's not really a lot of comedy shows out there, other than the Chappelle Show that is still, I guess, somewhat funny on some of his episodes. But the only real comedy show that I watch that's not really a comedy, it is and it's not, but is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. You ever heard of that?
Oh, yeah.
That show, I watch that religiously.
Yeah.
That and Archer. Archer's pretty funny.
Oh God, Archer is... what's his name? The guy who plays Archer. He is
John B. Benjamin.
He is just genius.
Any voice and his voice is very, very.
It's distinctive. For sure.
Yeah, and so you could tell that's him on Bob's Burgers, on Family Guy, or any other character that he plays. But Archer is most definitely that one character where it's hilarious what he does in every single line.
And you can tell he puts so much of it of himself into those characters. It's like Family Guy.
Yeah.
That is just genius. Now I will say, and of course I'm a huge Simpsons fan because I love Homer Simpson.
That's actually pretty good.
He's one of my more popular voices. I actually do voiceover work, so I get requests to do that. And I'm like, what is it being used for? Because I'm not getting sued. So I do little clips like that a lot.
When you mention The Simpsons, it's weird that it's lasted like 35 seasons. Like I remember watching it as like a little kid, and then like a teenager. My parents are still watching it. My dad's still watching it, and then it's still going now that I'm in my mid-20s or mid-30s. Like
it's one of those things where I think everybody has become so numb to it, and I haven't watched it in years, but I watched actually an episode not too long ago, and I was like, this is very fun. It's the same episode from way back when. They just tweaked a bunch of it, know. And right now they're playing out contracts.
Yeah,
you can tell, and it's going to end. I mean, that's still funny. It's still great. A little bit edgy. It's more family available as to where back in the days it got
it was very raunchy.
Really edgy for a while. I was like, okay, you don't need to.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of that, and that's the one thing I love too. I mean, especially in radio and comedy when I was doing stand up and stuff. Push until they tell you. Just keep going, because you'll never know. You never know what you're going to get, and sometimes you flop, but a lot of times you'll win. So I always try to push the envelope as best I can. So I love the edgy stuff. Now, being more of a Christian man myself, along with the name, I try to, I mean, you ask some of my friends, especially way back in the day, I was F-bombs everywhere. It was like one of the proudest things I knew was how to swear and use foul language. But, I moved on, and I found a way to be entertaining and funny without being that. Now, I can be a little elusive into, some kind of nastiness, but, I still keep it definitely PG-13, and I always tell my guests that I had Bob the Reverend Levy on the show. Okay. I mean, they nicknamed him the Reverend because of his filthy mouth. And he was like, "Yeah, I'll come on." I said, we tried to keep it PG-13. He's like, "Oh, I can effing do that," and I'm like, "Really, Bob? Because you just dropped like 5 F-bombs right now." And he's like, "Oh, no, I'll do it on the show," and I'm like, okay, cool. And he was genius, except our mics were failing. So, like, you couldn't hear me, but you could hear him talking, and then you could hear Andy talking, and then, like, you get a little blip of me, and then you could hear Bob great. So he's just sitting there. It's like Bob's sitting there talking to himself, like he was on a phone call, and you can't hear the rest of the phone call. But people loved the show for some reason. I mean, it was Bob Levy. He's just funny. And he did a great job, but he also kept it edgy. He kept kind of pushing right to that edge. And I, like there was a couple times where I typed to him, I'm like, "Okay, dude, no. And you could see he'd get it and kind of back away from where he was going with his subject. I could tell, Did you ever have to cut the show early or have something mishap on the show that wasn't quite appropriate? Not that it wasn't appropriate, more to technical, because I am pretty technically inept.
Yeah, well, the camera wasn't rolling when I was kind of... I had some audio issues before the show.
But no, there was only one time it was due to a technical issue. The great thing that I love about the show is, again, it's live. I don't edit it. What you get is what you get. And there's a great aspect to it. It makes people nervous at first. That my guests, when they come on, they're like, "Okay, so just don't worry about it. We're going to be talking. It's cool." And I get these people, "I'm only good for a half hour. I can give you a half hour and that's it." "Okay, no problem. I'll give you a cue when we're getting close." And so they sit there and we're going and be like, "Okay, hey, well, I see our time's getting close." And he's like, "What? Oh, no, I'm good. I'm good," And then they'll type in the little chat, "Hey, I can stay for a while longer." Those people usually end up being my 2-hour-long shows. I had one go almost 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
And they were just having so much fun. And they were, it was a true testament to what the show can do. It can take people that seem very rigid and stuffy, somebody that's unapproachable, and puts them out there, and you get them laughing, you get them having a good time, and they just, all of a sudden they're sitting like this, with you, as to where before they were like, yes, okay, yes, I will answer your question. After a while, it's like, "Dude, oh my God, that was so," and they break down. Well, not break down, I guess, is probably not the right word.
More like, I would say, get relaxed.
I beat them down, I take them down, and give them a flying elbow. That's right, brother.
Yeah, I would say getting more relaxed.
Yeah, they get chilled out, and they just have a good time. And then they're like, "When can I come on again?" And I'm like, "Well, let's give it a few months, And so, yeah, like even right now, we're booked out almost 3 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And like the guys are like, "So are we going to take any breaks or anything?" And I'm like, "If you can't do the show, that's cool. I figure we'll take a break eventually towards more of the holidays or something." But I mean, really, like Matt's not going to be available for one show. But Andy's like, "No, I'm staying. I'm not going away." He's like, "If something happens, I'll let you know." But he's like, "We need to get this out." And we all have a blast with it. So that's the good thing about it. And it shows. And the guests come on, like I say, you know, some of them are a little apprehensive, but you see them open up. Great one was the one I just did with Beth Metcalf. She's a young actress, singer, stunt woman. I mean, she's done so many, and she just keeps trying to learn more and more and more. And that's the beauty. I mean, that's what I love. You know, you start finding these people who, especially young people, who are just wanting, you know, and they're trying, and they're taking whatever chances they can. That's the beauty of being young, you know. Get it figured out now. And she's like, out of all these things, I really love singing. And she has a beautiful voice. We played a little track of one of her songs. She did a cover of the Beatles. I can't remember the song right now, but
it's the one that you sung. Yeah.
But yeah, and like we listened and we're like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I'm like, dude, we got to put this on the show. And she had no idea we were doing it, and she was like, you're what? And I'm like, yeah, let's play it. And so I played it on the show, and she was just like, and then she saw how happy we were. We were just like, oh my God, you don't understand. This is a beautiful rendition of this song. Because there's people who do covers of songs that just, you're like, maybe you should have rethought doing that song or something. But yeah, and so I love finding those kind of people that just have the energy for, and the lust for life, really, you know, to put it in a simple term, because it gives hope for everybody else, especially coming out of something like this stupid ass pandemic, where everybody, you know, nope, and everybody loves to divide and keep us all separated and keep us apart from each other, and putting conflict in the middle of it so that way it feeds the walls that they try to put in between us. When I break down those walls and I show people that we're all out here, we're doing the same thing, we're stronger than the rest of them. Together, we all work together, we're going to conquer more than anything. And we need people like Beth Metcalf. We need people that will stand together and say, no, I can do that, you know, or hey, I'll help you do this. You know, I think that's one of the greatest things of being in the human race is we have the choice. We have free will. God gave us free will. We can choose to follow God. We choose not to follow God. But we have the free will to help each other. We are supposed to love each other as we love ourselves. And when we show that, and we break that down, and we take these stiff people that are very interesting, you know, just on top of it, but then we break them down and we make them human, and everybody goes, yeah, well, you know, maybe I can do this. Or, you know, I always talk about, you know, seeing somebody on the side of the road, I'll stop and help them. Or at least check.
Yeah.
You know, you cool? Oh, yeah, I'm fine. I got it. Got AAA coming, whatever. Anyway, you know, I've helped a lady change a tire, you know. We need more of that in this world. Everybody's become so secluded and afraid, which is what the powers that be, and that's a whole nother topic for another day. That's what they want from us. They want us to be afraid of each other. They want us to be away from each other. And I want us to be together. I love, you know, being in a crowd. Not in a crowd where you're like, okay, dude, I can smell your deodorant. It's not working. But we need more of that. We need more human contact. We need more human socializing. You know, the great thing about Facebook is it is social media. So it's cool. It's a great way to keep in contact, you know, with people that,
people and all that
you know, across the country or whatever. You know, it's like making that long distance phone call back in the day. But now it's free and you can just sit there and do it anytime. But don't get involved with that when you've got a room full of people sitting around with you. Okay, talk about it later, you know, when you got some free time, and be like, oh God, you wouldn't believe what I did today. I was hanging out with this group of people and we all realized we were all drinking the same kind of coffee, you know, something like that. Be involved in where you're at. Be involved with the people you're around, because we ain't got a whole lot of time here and we need to make it better for everybody. And that's what my show's about. I'm just trying to make everybody's life a little bit better.
And that's absolutely amazing, man.
And that's why I love comedy. It opens everybody up.
Yeah.
You break down so many barriers with comedy, and you don't get that through an action film. You don't get that through a superhero film. You don't get that through a drama. You don't get that through, God forbid, horror movies and stuff like that. And I'm not saying those are bad. I've watched them, and I just don't get into them. It's like I always figure out the plot, and I'm like, okay, guess what's going to happen next? And like my wife will get mad at me. She'll be like, "So you just
watch the movie."
Yeah,
man.
just watch the movie." So, which I've learned to. But he's gonna go in that room, and I get the look. So I just, yes, dear, love you.
Well, we can't wait to see your show on the streaming channel.
I can't wait.
Every Tuesday at 4 p.m., right?
Tuesday at 4 p.m. Central. We're live on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
All right.
And you can join in the chat. That's the one thing I did that's why I wanted to do I jumped on live streaming early, because I love the engagement with people.
Okay.
And some days we only get a couple people. We have some steadies or I call them steadies, that join in with us a lot. But then all of a sudden, depending, we can get a flood of people coming in asking questions. You can ask questions of our guests. You can talk with us, and that's part of it. That's what makes the show great, and that's why I did it that way. And then I download it to this podcast sites like Good Pods, which is awesome. Good Pods. If you don't have a decent podcast site that you use, Good Pods is amazing. Just check it out. Okay. And then all the other majors, the Google and Spotify, and Spotify actually has a video now too, so you can see the show on there as well.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool. I know Good Pods is working towards something like that. But yeah, it's great, and I mean, we are so super excited to be joining the Associate Productions channel.
This is more than welcome to have you. You're actually the first podcast that's on the streaming channel, so you're already making history.
Yeah, beautiful.
With hopefully the future of $1 billion company.
Yes, hint, hint. Yeah. And and by the way, anybody who wants to sponsor the show, like Kicking Horse Coffee.
There you go.
Delicious. Or I don't care. Chevy, Volkswagen.
There you go.
But yeah. We need sponsors, so feel free to check out the site. It's the randomchristianshow.com. That's Christian with a K. And go there. You can check out any episode. We have them all downloaded. We've got links to any of our guests that are on there. We just like to have a good time, make suggestions for guests. If you want to be a guest, hit me up. I'm always willing to talk to anybody.
There you go, Kristian. It's been a pleasure, man.
James, thank you so much. Glad to be a part of it, brother.
Cool, man. See you for the next episode. I'll figure out the guests whenever I figure it out, like I usually do at the end of.
That's random right there.
Yeah, very random. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
Peace.